Folks, about a month ago, Bob asked me to do a drop of ashes for him because he knew that I had done it before for another friend. So he asked me to do that. Well, 3 days ago, he asked me to talk. So if this is a little disjointed, it's because I didn't have time to put it together. I'm experienced at this. I was a soldier for 26 years. I've had memorial services for soldiers. I tend to get a little emotional, so if I do, please stand with me. I'm also accustomed to talking in front of people, so this part of it doesn't bother me. I've probably known Eric for 20 years or so, a lot less than some of you, more than others. But I try to think of some things that I wanted to say about him before we let him go. I would say, try to think right now about a single word that you would use to describe him, and I'll get to my word in a moment. But I would say that he's been honest and fair with me, very complimentary of everything that I do, a real gentleman, which is contrary to the way he reacted with his brother. Two of them had a relationship unlike any I've ever known before. They feuded, they argued, they called each other names, but if you got on one of them's bad side, you were on both of them's bad side. They showed their love in an unusual way, and a bond that was just unbelievable. And I was proud to be able to see that and observe that and live around it. So I know it's a great loss for you, Bob. He lived with you for 7 years, I think. Eric did a lot of things that maybe some of us don't know about. He loved animals. The ashes that we're going to drop today have partly Eric and partly Baby, which was his favorite dog. So we'll be dropping both of them when it's time. He donated money every paycheck for the ASPCA, to the Children's Hospital, and he also sent money orders to people around the world that he knew that were in trouble. Most of us didn't know that. I didn't know that until I talked to Bob. That's an unusual thing for people to do. It's a great thing for people to do, and it's a great way to remember what Eric did. He was an awesome guy. I was both honored and a little doubtful about the opportunity to speak. I'm not the best pilot in the world. I can fly an airplane okay. But I think the most incredible flight that I ever saw was Eric Sawyer. We were flying at a field that's long since been closed. He and Bob were trying to see how far back you could put the center of gravity on an airplane, and if you don't know about flying, the further back you get it, the worse it flies. Eventually it gets to where it won't fly, it breaks. They reached that point. Jack and I were out there. Eric took off. The airplane was all over the sky. It was pitching and diving and rolling. It had a great big, how many cc engine on it? 100 cc or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Big 100 cc engine on it, swinging a giant prop that could lacerate you, could kill you. Jack and I did the better part of valor and went and hid behind my truck. Eric fought the thing. He got it up really high and kept fighting it and fighting it. I was sure the airplane died 10 times and he didn't let it die. Finally he got it where he knew that he could control it. And he brought it in and he landed it, with Jack and I still hiding behind my truck. That was the most incredible thing I have seen. The airplane couldn't fly, yet he was able to fly it and get it on the ground. He wasn't truly into extreme aerobatics, but he certainly was a good stick. He could fly an airplane, and it was impressive to me. Now I want to get to some of the stuff that I want to think about with Eric. He always came over and shook hands with me when he got to the flying field. Other folks would say hi. And when he got ready to leave, he didn't get in the car and say, "I'm leaving." He had to come over and shake hands with me before he left. It was just a thing with him. Most folks would just tell me goodbye and leave. He had to come and shake my hand and say, "Goodbye, Mr. Jim." It was incredible that he did that. On Tuesday, before he passed away on Thursday, I went to the hospital to see him, and Bob was there and Holly, wherever Holly is, was there. And they spent the night up there, and they were kind of spaced out, I believe. So I sat down beside Eric and I put my hand on his hand and I talked to him a little bit about missing him and wishing that he didn't have to go through all of this, and telling him it was okay, it was time. But then Holly told me a story it's 3 words, but I told you to think of 1 word that you would talk about, but it's 3 words that I think I'm going to carry with me forever. Before I got there, Eric woke up and said, "Pull up, pull up, pull up." And they thought he wanted the bed pulled up because he was uncomfortable. And so Holly or somebody raised the bed up for him so that it would be more erect so he wasn't so uncomfortable. And I guess he closed his eyes and they thought he went back to sleep or something, and he was sitting there, and pretty soon he said, "Pull up, Maverick."
He did.
He was watching Top Gun. I mean,
He totally
he had it in his head. Pull up, Maverick. Well, for years, Bob and I both were a little concerned because Eric didn't really have any religion in him. He didn't have a motivation to believe in an extra person that took care of us, like Jesus or God or something. A few days before he passed away, he told Bob, "I love Jesus." That was the best thing for Bob, and for me, for any of you guys that are religious to hear, is that he finally found Jesus. Way late, but he found him. So I'm going to use "Pull Up, Maverick" as my thought about him going up to where he belongs. And I'm going to think of "Pull Up, Maverick" forever. Now, the word that I was going to use before I thought of the "Pull Up, Maverick" was "floor." 1 word, floor. Eric was floor. He was full of love for people and animals, for airplanes. He was full of wisdom. When I worked for Bob for 6 months, he sat at the table behind me. He made me much smarter about the things that I needed to do to take care of the mission that we had over there. He was full of talent. I mean, I watched things that he did, and he could do them. He was full of anger when he broke an airplane. Occasionally, he was full of booze. I guess more than occasionally. But he was full. I think "full" is a single word that I might use to describe him. Also, some of you might think he was full of bull sometimes, but he was a great guy. So, having said that, I want to first tell you what we're about to do. Well, first let me ask, does anybody have anything they want to say? Does anybody have a single word that they would like to use for Eric? I'm not a minister, and I don't really do these ceremonies very well. Anybody have anything they want to say? Please speak now if you'd like to.
I think he was fun.
He was fun. F for fun. He was full of fun.
He was down to earth.
Down to earth.
Kind.
Kind.
Helpful.
Helpful.
Caring.
Yeah.
Compassionate. Caring. Giving. Solid.
Never had a bad word.
Never had a bad. That's more than 1 word, but never had a bad word. But he said some bad words.
He asked him to do something, he'd always do it.
That's
Right.
He was
There was never any.
faithful. He made you a commitment. He followed through on. You're right.
Also, I want to say something just that Bob shared and Jennifer shared. I just want to let everybody know about a week ago when I told Eric, literally as he was passing, come back. I want to know if you come back. You know, let me see a butterfly or let me see like a cardinal or something. And he said, I will make it a hell of a lot more fun than that and make it more obvious. And about, 2 weeks or so ago, Jennifer and Bob were in the garage. And they have a long table in the garage where Bob likes to sit, and Eric would sit in there and razz him all day long while they're working on airplanes. And Jennifer happened to be sitting at an angle where Bob, you don't know, I know the story, Bob could see one of the airplanes, and he always parks the propellers at a certain angle, right? And Eric liked to go through the garage and move the propellers just a little bit when he wasn't looking, to drive him absolutely crazy. And as Bob and Jennifer were talking about him, it was an evening, I think, Bob said, "Oh my God, did you see that?" And Jennifer Jennifer's like, what? And apparently you saw the propeller just move, completely move on an electric airplane. So I just wanted to share that. So he's with us.
He gave you a signal.
He gave them a signal. Yeah, he hasn't hit me yet. I'm kind of worried about what he's going to do. I'm constantly
Tell him what
looking over my
he said
shoulder.
to tell Bob.
Oh no, I won't share that. I can't share that in good company. So anyway, so I just want to let everybody know that story.
Good story.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take off with the high wing monoplane airplane with the ashes in it. The other two airplanes are airplanes that were Eric's. So the plan is to take off with Eric and two of Eric's airplanes. Come out here, fly over the lake. I have a transmitter. Bob has it in his hand. It's a different transmitter than the one flying the airplane, and it has a release mechanism on it to release the ashes. So I'm going to get over here, over in front of us, roll the airplane inverted, and then each of the three family members that are sitting here will do 3 flights. We'll drop the ashes. So each one of them is involved in letting Eric's final wish come true for him. So, does anybody have anything else that they need to say before we do the flying? We're going to play music. It's Eric's music. It's his request. It's Highway to Hell.
Yes, it is.
I was going to say, is he music?
And we've got 8 minutes of music. It's Highway to Hell.
Hell's Bells,
Hell's Bells.
and then a Metallica song called Fade to Black.
And a Metallica song that Eric stuck his head in Gary's truck one day, and he was playing that song, and Eric said, I love that song. So Gary put that on there also. I want to real quick say thank you to the River City RC Club. The president and vice president are here for letting us use their field for this, for making the field look immaculate. It is just gorgeous. The latrine is in better shape than I have seen ever. So if you need to go today, because it won't look like that tomorrow. The crew that did the work, I want to thank Chris Campbell for giving us 2 of Eric's airplanes that we're going to fly. Jason and Gary, my son Gary, are going to fly the airplanes at Bob's request to fly with Eric's ashes. So having said all that, let's put the music on and go fly.
lost you. Got it back.